Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because we are tackling a topic that is practically universally on the minds of homeowners right now. We are fully demystifying the real, actual costs of home renovations in 2026. Because let's be honest, if you've ever kicked off a project thinking you knew exactly what it would cost, only to watch that number literally balloon into the stratosphere, well, you're going to want to pay close attention to this breakdown. Okay, let's dive right into this. We have all stared at a screen just like this, right? You're clicking around the internet, minding your own business, trying to get somewhere, and suddenly, boom, a security error pops up telling you that you've been blocked. A totally hidden barrier just stopped you in your tracks to protect the system. Well, renovating a home actually operates on that exact same principle. Homeowners are constantly running into unseen barriers that unexpectedly block their renovation budgets, completely stopping their progress cold.
So, what exactly acts as these unexpected budget blocks? To figure that out, our explainer journey today is going to take us from a really high macro-level view of national market confidence all the way down to the hyper-local, hidden costs that throw a wrench in your plans. We'll look at the data to see exactly where your money is actually going and, more importantly, where it's hiding.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The hidden renovation blocks. 2. Gauging the remodeling market. 3. Sacramento roofing costs decoded. 4. The Title 24 iceberg. 5. Real-world hidden costs. And finally, 6. Visible versus invisible investments.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the hidden renovation blocks. We're looking at the unseen barriers in your home upgrades.
It really helps to think of your home renovation kind of like a giant iceberg. What you actually see on the surface, the beautiful new shingles, the fresh paint, the modern finishes, that is only a tiny fraction of the actual system protecting your investment. Just like websites rely on all those hidden security protocols, modern homes are governed by unseen codes, really strict structural requirements, and highly specialized materials. It's these hidden depths that truly dictate the final cost of your project. If you only budget for the surface, you're definitely going to hit a wall. Moving right along to Section 2, Gauging the Remodeling Market, where we measure national confidence. So before we zoom in on a specific house, we really need to take the national temperature. The industry measures this using the NAHB/Westlake Royal Remodeling Market Index, or RMI for short. This is a super vital quarterly survey of remodelers put together by the National Association of Home Builders. And the way it works is actually pretty simple. It's measured on a scale from 0 to 100. Any score over 50 just means that a higher share of professional remodelers view market conditions as good rather than poor. Now, the overall index is basically an average of two distinct halves balancing on a scale. On one side, we have current conditions, which asks professionals how things are looking right now across large, moderate, and small remodeling projects. On the other side, we have future indicators, and that tracks the current rate of incoming leads and the backlog of existing projects. By averaging these two together, the index gives us a remarkably accurate prediction of where the national remodeling market is actually heading.
Okay, let's get hyper-local with Section 3, Sacramento roofing costs decoded, zooming in on real-world projects.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the median cost breakdown for a 2026 roof replacement in Sacramento. Look at where that $22,750 actually goes for a typical 2,000 square foot home. 45% goes straight to materials, your shingles, your underlayment. 30% goes to labor. Then you've got 10% for tearing off and disposing of the old roof, 10% for the contractor's overhead and profit, and finally 5% for local permits. So it's not just a single arbitrary price tag, it's a whole ecosystem of costs. And those costs generally fall into three distinct tiers. A basic 3-tabbed asphalt shingle roof, that's going to run you between $14.5 and $19,000, and it lasts about 15 to 20 years. Step up to mid-range architectural shingles, and you jump to $21,000 to $26,000, lasting up to 30 years. And then premium materials like standing seam metal can absolutely shock your wallet, easily blowing past $55,000. Though, to be fair, they do last over 50 years. But why are these costs so high? Well, certified roofers in Sacramento earn between $45 and $65 an hour. Throw in complex roof lines and multi-day jobs, and labor alone will aggressively push projects right out of that basic tier. Let's make this super concrete with 3 real-world 2026 Sacramento projects scoped out by Renology. A simple 1950s single-story ranch came in at $21,500, and that was even with 12 sheets of plywood replaced because of dry rot near the eaves. A 1990s 2-story tract home with a steeper pitch cost $25,800. But check out the 1970s Tudor-style home, because it had an incredibly steep pitch, multiple intersecting roof lines, and needed custom flashing around its chimney and skylights. That cost escalated to $31,200. The literal architecture of your house dictates your baseline cost.
Which perfectly tees up Section 4, the Title 24 iceberg. Let's dig into the codes, climates, and regulations shaping those costs.
50 degrees Fahrenheit. Guys, that is a massive number. Over in California, the Title 24 Energy Code actually mandates the use of cool roofs. These are specialized, highly reflective materials that can literally reduce your hot summer attic temperatures by up to 50 degrees. And this isn't just a polite suggestion, it's the law. Now, while it absolutely saves you serious money on air conditioning, we're talking a 5 to 7 year payback period. These specialized materials definitely cost more upfront than the standard shingles used in other states.
This creates such a fascinating financial interplay for you as a homeowner. Yes, the Title 24 mandate adds about 75 cents to $1.50 per square foot. However, local utilities like SMUD offer rebates that can hand you $500 to $1,000 cash back. But here's the real kicker. If you live near the suburban fringe, you're probably in a wildland urban interface zone, or WII. If you don't install a Class A fire-rated roof there, insurance carriers might just cancel your policy entirely. This whole triangle of codes, utility rebates, and strict fire insurance, that is the real driver of your home's long-term financial health.
All right, on to Section 5, Real-World Hidden Costs. Let's uncover what is suspiciously missing from your preliminary quote. So here's the absolutely crucial point. That initial quote a contractor hands you, it almost always leaves out several incredibly common items that cause devastating budget blocks later on. I mean, roofers literally cannot see the condition of the wooden deck until they tear the old roof off. If they find rot, replacing that decking is $95 to $150 a sheet. Then you've got upgraded synthetic underlayment, adding new ridge vents so your shingles don't literally bake, and fabricating custom flashing for chimneys. If you don't plan for these hidden items, boom, they can easily add 15 to 25% to your final bill. So, to protect yourself, please, never just accept a one-page estimate with a single magic number at the bottom. A real professional bid has to include these 5 things. Number 1, the contractor's license and proof of workers' comp insurance. 2, the explicit cost per sheet for replacing any damaged decking. 3, the exact manufacturer and product name proving it's Title 24 compliant. 4, a highly detailed plan for your ventilation and flashing. And 5, explicit warranty details for both the materials and the workmanship. Evaluating a multi-page bid against this exact list is exactly how you stop scope creep dead in its tracks.
And that brings us to our final stop, Section 6, Visible versus Invisible Investments, uncovering the remodeling meta pattern.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute biggest mistake homeowners make, which honestly is the core takeaway from all our source data today. Homeowners drastically over-index on the visible parts of the project, obsessing over the shingle brand and the perfect color, while totally under-investing in the invisible system. But it is that invisible underlayment, the precision flashing, and the proper attic ventilation that actually prevent the roof from failing. A premium 50-year shingle slapped on top of terrible ventilation is going to fail in under 15 years, for sure. Always, always allocate your budget to the invisible protective system first. Which leaves us with this final, kind of provocative thought. We've seen how hidden codes, unseen rot, and mandatory regulations absolutely dictate the true cost of upgrading a home. But knowing what you know now about the visible versus the invisible, you have to ask yourself, are your home investments truly surviving the heat, or are you just paying for the surface? Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer. I really hope it helps you tackle your next big project with total confidence. Catch you next time.